Alright, continuing the conversation with the modern mystic on the whole economics thing. Alright, well Nick, whatever, I really didn't like your last two videos much at all. One of them you're talking big picture shit again when you said big picture's out of the question. Can't talk about the system and all that crap. And then you basically do this whole Austrian economics thing all over again or whatever. So, you know, there's a difference between a controlled economy, something you engineer, and chaos. And you're just saying, oh no, chaos is just fine, it works just fine, no problem, we just go back to chaos again. You know, so forget that. And then you don't deal with the issue of interest. You just say, oh, ludicrous idea. I won't make an argument why it's ludicrous, I'll just say it's ludicrous, can't happen, so period. What the hell is that bullshit? That's not a conversation. So I have to accept your premises that there has to be owners with a big pile of money, and that's the only way it's going to be. There's no other way to run an economy. It has to have owners. Not controllers, owners. And not a system where control is earned. No, a system where you're born and you own. So bullshit on this conversation. I can build a bank tomorrow, a government bank, that charges the cheapest rates possible to borrow money, because it'll have no profit incentive. It's not making a profit, it'll just charge the cost of lending money. So, and so most of the depositors could be all collateralized depositors, and if they're not, they have to buy insurance against their lack of possession of collateral. So and you could have a 10-point standard by which a loan is going to be measured by the bureaucrat, and period. You make it a systematic, almost like any other kind of insurance. You just look at the table tells you the risk, you charge the extra risk as part of the loan device or whatever, period. Not complicated. And as long as people don't belong to some government union or some political party, there's no fucking problem. As long as they do their job and are expected to do their job to get their salary, no problem. Nobody has to own that bank, just has to be run. And that's it, period. And so, by that standard, that would efficiently provide people capital if they needed to borrow money for some idea they have, to venture off and do something to make money, you know, besides have a job, besides work for a non-profit that already exists. So anyway, that's where this all goes wrong anyway. You know, in the old days, people work for a company, they invent the transistor, you know, win for the company. The employee gets a raise, the company gets technology. You know, it wasn't a great system, but what we have now is a bunch of people, they get an idea when they're at a company and they say, wow, I'm not going to give this idea away to the company. No, I'm going to wait until I got enough money, or I get some venture capitalists together. And so even though I basically built the idea in Stanford University, or I built the idea in some other company, I'm basically going to steal it. Okay, even though I thought of it, but I thought of it partly because of what that company gave me. I'm going to go steal it, go out and you know, go rent an operating system to IBM and end up being worth $50 billion because I figured out how to rent an operating system to a big corporation. I snookered them, and I stole half my technology from another company doing research and development, Xerox. So, you know, fuck this system. You think we have to have this system. I say bullshit. We don't need castles, we don't need kings, we don't need fucking owners. So I guess that's why this has to be in context. So I'll say to you, okay, go ahead and play your stock market games. Go ahead and play your investment capitalist games. But as long as you do it with these investment capitalists paying for every bankruptcy, and the investment capitalists not being able to incorporate and get away with making some non-entity responsible for the actions of the corporation. So if the corporation gets sued because it killed people, well, guess what? The goddamn owners of the corporation go to jail, and they pay every goddamn penny of the damages. They don't get to say, oh no, we're bankrupt. No, we'll squeeze the blood out of your little kids then, because you were going to give the money to them, weren't you? You're going to give that blood money to your kids. Well, instead we're going to suck your kids' blood. There's got to be some kind of accountability. The current system has no accountability. They say they're risk takers. No, as soon as things get rough, they bail the fuck out. They have escape hatches all over the damn place. And who pays? The consumers. Just like this bailout shit demonstrates. Who's going to pay? Not the people who caused the problem. No, innocent bystanders are going to get the wreckage is going to be, they're going to engineer the wreckage to fall on them. All right, so it is engineering, but it's engineering completely from selfish prick bastards. I'm making the simple argument: if we're going to engineer the system, let's engineer it from a non-selfish prick bastard's perspective. Okay, with having no interest whatsoever in the system, like we were going to all die tomorrow, and it was only going to be for them that we were even bothering to engineer it. No self-interest. We don't get to be umpires or players or even fans in the stand. And, because all you're saying is, let's let the richest people, let's let the owners define the system. Let's let them hire the umpires. Let's let them build the stadiums. Let's let them do all, let them have the concessions. Let them have everything. And let the players be damned. Let the spectators be damned. It's bullshit. So, I don't know where we're going with this. You forced the narrowing of this conversation. Now you're saying we must have inflation, is all you're saying. This interest is inflation. Especially when 90% of the wealth is held by 10% of the people. Inflation is a guarantee if you're going to pay interest on that wealth. If that surplus is entitled to accrue a profit, then that profit is going to have to be paid. I mean, you linking to the Confederate socialist, the racist, let's just call him what he is. He believes that black people are genetically inferior. That's how smart he is. So, his example was an example of a rental contract, not an example of an interest contract. He couldn't even get it right. His stupid fish example, his net example. The guy didn't pay more if he spent 5 days paying for it, or if he paid for it up front. He said it was worth 5 fish. That would be stupid. So it was an example of interest. It was an example of a rent. so that was just dumb. And those contracts can all be handled through non-profit arrangements. I'm sorry, there's a big blue heron just took off here. Should have turned the camera around, but I was stunned. Anyway. So what's the point? This is just a stupid analogy. Your system, any system that provides the ability to put the screws to the renters, the borrowers, it's not going to work if you're going to have 90% of the wealth held by 10% of the people. You're just saying we're stuck with monarchy for the rest of human destiny history, and I'm saying that's just complete nonsense. You change 10 things, the world changes dramatically. You end up valuing work, and you end up devaluing elitism, sloth, birthright bullshit. All that crap goes down the toilet. We don't need them again. And even in the Confederate Socialist argument, he even displayed exactly what would happen. The net inventor, instead of doing something productive with his time, would just sit on his ass and collect fishes from other people. He wouldn't be productive anymore. He'd be of no use to society anymore. He'd just be a leech on society. So yeah, no need to have rents, no need to have copyright. Every business should be taking advantage to the maximum of all technology. If Bill Gates didn't have ownership of the foundation of the computer PC, who knows what kind of tremendous innovation could have taken place if people were freely allowed to redesign that broken system, that broken infrastructure. But we were denied that progress because he exclusively He's the only one who could tinker with it. He's the exclusive, the only one who could make it any better. And we get that now with Google search engine owning the industry. We got there's no reason for innovation. YouTube owns the corner, the masses, the 99%, the 95%, whatever, and it has no incentive to give a fuck. So, whatever. Yeah, this is just going to end up being a hostile thing. I can see it coming, and that's all right. I'll just do my part, as you put it. You know, I'll play my role. But yeah, I think you're completely stuck in archaic notions of what has to be. It does not have to be. Profit does not have to be any part of the system.